perhaps the biggest storyline coming out of the game against the Seattle Seahawks was that the San Francisco 49ers have a pretty incredible rookie class. And I can't wait to talk about all of the guys in a later video. We'll bring up some of these other guys. It's important to talk about them, but my goodness, there's one rookie that has not been mentioned a whole lot, and his name is Evan Anderson. In today's video, we're going to talk about UDFA Evan Anderson, some new information that's being talked about right now with Evan Anderson, how important he might be proved to be down the stretch for an undrafted free agent defensive tackle, nose tackle. If you're new here, I'm Nate. Love talking the 49ers. Please consider a like and sub. I do genuinely appreciate it. And, join the party. Why not? What are you waiting for? UDFA Evan Anderson has been on my radar for a long time. We talked about him a lot. Okay, a lot's a strong word. We talked about him a couple times this offseason, and the San Francisco 49ers made wholesale changes on the defensive line. So every move, even depth, was something that we had to pay attention to in this offseason, and we did that. But UDFA, Evan Anderson, undrafted free agent, was no exception to that rule. Jason Aponte wrote that he might even be making his way to the 53 roster with how he's playing. That's saying a lot. So I'm going to get into that in like 5 seconds, but comment below, how about these unexpected defensive tackles? Sam Okuanu and Evan Anderson, these guys are really surprising in a really great way. I've been super impressed by all the depth guys going in there and collapsing the pocket. So let's get into this Jason Aponte article with starting off with a quick reminder of how good those main rookies were during the game. Running back Isaac Guerrero asked to fill in following the halftime shoulder injury to starter Jordan Mason, another undrafted individual, rumbled off a back-breaking 76-yard score late in I wouldn't call it a score, but late in the fourth quarter to ensure the Niners' 36-24 victory, aided by a key block from first-year right guard Dominic Puni. Guerrendo's rush helped seal the deal. Cornerback Renardo Green, getting the start in place of the injured Charvarius Ward, tipped momentum back in the Niners' favor in the best moments in the game. This was a moment that you felt the game slipping away from the 49ers like we've seen multiple times this season, most notably against division rivals in the Rams and in the Cardinals. And this moment when he went in there and got that fourth quarter interception, it turned the San Francisco game back around. It really put all of the favor, all of the energy back on the 49ers side. It was an important momentum play. And it turned into a touchdown a few plays later, while safety Malik Mustafa picked off Hawks quarterback Geno Smith near the end of the zone back in the first quarter as well. So rookies were definitely standouts, but there's a guy, Evan Anderson, Pro Football Focus tabs as the 49ers' highest graded player from Week 6. Evan Anderson, who only participated in the game because of a pre-Week 6 call-up from the practice squad in light of an injury to a veteran defensive tackle, Jordan Elliott. It'd be one thing if Anderson saw a mere handful of snaps, perhaps 5 or 6 over the course of all 4 quarters, but Anderson was an integral part of the rotation, seeing a total of 13 defensive snaps and logging 2 assists and 2 quarterback hurries in the process, solidifying his 93.3 overall game grade. Now, I know some naysayers out there going to be like, 13 snaps isn't enough for a PFF grade, and that's fine, whatever. I mean, PFF grades by themselves, you should have a little disclaimer there of what they actually are. But we should be impressed by this young man and what he's doing and the opportunity coming out of Florida Atlantic, what he's done. And before you go, by the way, I want to get to some things we talked about this summer about Evan Anderson to remind you of who this guy is. But let's go to just the best of the game. So Evan Anderson, Dominic Puni, Jordan Mason, George Kittle, and Malik Mustafa are the 5 highest graded players in there. 3 of the 5 with limited snaps. So you give them a little bit of an asterisk there. Not quite as big of an asterisk that you put over the steroid era in baseball, but an asterisk for sure. Anderson, a key undrafted free agent pickup by the 49ers following last April's NFL draft. This is Jason Aponte saying might be making his way toward a full-time spot on the 53-man roster. In the wake of such a performance, the Niners may be wise to sign him to such a deal anyway, knowing 31 other teams witnessed the rookie's efforts on Thursday night and may be inclined to sign him off the 49ers practice squad. I want to also throw out there, guys, because as we're talking about this, we need to remember that the 49ers have a lot of business decisions to make. A lot of guys who are going to get paid. And as these guys get paid, you need rookies that are going in there and doing good jobs. Even if it's depth guys, you need rookies in there to try and balance those scales a little bit with all of the money that's going to float around. Okay. And then that disclaimer I was telling you about, another important one to remember is that PFF grades aren't exactly the end all be all. Some people are kind of negative and down on PFF grades. For example, coming into this game, the 2 and 3 49ers were like top on PFF's total points rankings. So they were like number one in the league. All right. So yeah, we can take it with a grain of salt. I'm fine with that. I think it's all going to balance out in the end. I think the 49ers are an incredible roster. And when healthy, the best roster in football. But all of that being said, it may be worth developing on a larger scale, especially after week 6. So yes, let's continue to develop that young talent. Now, going way back to April, when I did a video talking about Evan Anderson. All my highlights are actually still here from when I did those highlights on this website. You know, cookies are awesome, I guess. Sturdy nose tackle with the anchor to battle against double teams and instincts to find the play. His body composition is subpar, and he lacks desired length for clean stack and shed football inside. Anderson will flash athletic qualities to make tackles and win in short spaces, but he might need to continue to refine his body for additional first-step quickness. He's unlikely to play much of a role as a rusher, but does have a shot at challenging for a roster spot at a rotational nose in an even front. And we're seeing that now. Now, I'm going to talk about his strengths, and I'm going to talk about his weaknesses, and I'm going to say exactly what I said in April about his weaknesses. I'm going to remind you about it, but let's start with the strengths. So, stout and thick through his lower body with quality upper body power, plays with lowered pads and digs in against double teams, uses short area footwork and sudden hands to create penetration opportunities, ability to gain separation and bypass the base block, and adequate reactive agility, and powerful thump as an interior tackler. Okay, so that's all the positives we're looking at. Now, look at the negatives, and I want you to look at them with a critical eye here, because I think there's something very interesting happening here. Weaknesses, arm length. There's nothing he can do to change arm length. All right. But you know what? They said Dominic Puni's arm length wasn't very good either, and he's making it work. Occasional lunging off the snap puts him at a disadvantage. Okay. That, I say, and I told you in April, can be coached. Inconsistent footwork. I told you in April, can be coached. Lacks the get off to beat protection and factor as a rusher. That is still to be determined, to be fair, because we only saw 13 snaps this weekend, and he's played in featured in a couple other games. But what I will say on the get off to beat protection, with the few snaps that he did have, he did manage to get a couple pressures in there. So I'm going to say either, yes, it can be coached, it can be trained, it's something that players can develop. So on those weaknesses, other than arm length, these are things that a player can sort out. And you know what? We're seeing it, guys. We're seeing it. This young man, Evan Anderson, has been pretty special in his few opportunities that he's given. And all you can ask out of UDFAs is that you say, you're going to get an opportunity against the Seattle Seahawks today, and this is your shot, my man. This is it. And players, I think the 49ers seem to be really good right now, at least this draft class for sure, at finding players who can take advantage of those opportunities. Jordan Mason's another one of those examples, of course, as a guy that, he's undrafted. Nobody values him, but he comes in there and you tell him, when you get a shot, we want to see it. And we saw sparks of what Jordan Mason was capable of in previous seasons. But now, when it was all in line, week 1 against the Jets, all of a sudden, we're looking at Jordan Mason as a very different impact on this football team. We saw it in preseason as well, to be fair, but preseason is preseason, so you never really know what it actually means. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic about this young man. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about him. I've got another video coming out later today talking about some other rookies that, and one in particular, that is really impressing and really showing that the 49ers have some serious draft clout coming into the 2024 season. As always, what a time to be alive.